On September 16th, the day before I flew out to the iSchool orientation, a gunman gained access to the Washington Navy Yard in D.C., entered Building 197, and opened fire. 12 people were killed that morning. I work as a librarian and a musician for the United States Navy Band, which is located on the same base. Our building is near Building 197, and around 50 members of the band were on base at the time of the shooting. Because the police initially suspected a second gunman, everyone was on lockdown for the day. Many people did not get home until the evening, and they had to leave without their cars, wallets, phones, or keys. 5 individuals from the band agreed to talk in a focus group about how information, misinformation, and lack of information impacted their day. 2 of the group were in the band building at the time of the shooting. One was outside, and he ended up assisting with the evacuation of people fleeing Building 197. One was at medical for a routine appointment. The last participant was at home, but he is a member of our public affairs team and the social media specialist, so he spent the day trying to communicate with members of the band trapped on base, their families, and the general public. Months earlier, everyone in the command had provided contact information for the government's ad hoc system, which is an interactive crisis communication tool. After the shooting, everyone received a text notifying them to shelter in place, although for the 4 members already on the yard, this was old news. They had already learned through word of mouth, and they were already sheltering. The text was nearly 20 minutes late and didn't provide any details to be of use. Everyone seeking out information relied on other sources. Some common themes emerged during the hour-long focus group. First, the quantity of information was overwhelming to most. Adam, who's the public affairs specialist not on base, was monitoring Twitter and said that about 10 tweets per second were coming in with the hashtag Navy Yard shooting, and the news media was all over this event. For those trapped on base trying to find out what was going on, there were no shortage of sources. 2, the quality of information was quite poor. Every piece of misinformation spread like wildfire. One member of the focus group stated that he relied on what he could actually see to verify every rumor he was hearing. He took every piece of information and compared it to events actually happening around him, and that was his method of weeding out bad information. Another member suggested that the TV news media was deliberately spreading false rumors just to get viewers. Indeed, throughout the day, there were reports of a second gunman on the loose, another shooting at JBAB, which is a base across the river where many people had children in daycare, which resulted in yet another lockdown. There was a misreport of the identity of the shooter, and there were reports of spotting of a second shooter that never turned out to exist in at least 2 buildings, including the band building. Thirdly, the people trapped outside of their normal office spaces relied heavily on other people from the outside to communicate with them and sometimes for them. Aaron, who's the member trapped in medical all day, had spotty cell phone coverage, a waning battery, and no cable TV. He is the head of our public affairs department and also in charge of the whole support staff, and he mentioned how essential it was to have Adam off from work that day and able to take care of mustering personnel and running the public affairs department remotely. As the day progressed, Adam became the main contact point for members of the band trying to arrange rides home, wondering which gate was open to pick up their children. This indicates the importance of flexibility in a disaster and the potential role of information professionals who may already have an infrastructure set up in their community. And lastly, the fact that multiple departments were working together in ad hoc teams created confusion throughout the day. The team put together to clear the band building was a mix of DC Police, Navy Yard Base Police, and the FBI. They had not worked together before when they entered the band building, and this was hours after the initial event. The scene was chaotic, and even though everyone was in the same place and clearly identified themselves, a SWAT team entered the room, guns drawn, and ordered everyone on the ground to be frisked. One member of the focus group indicated that he was not sure who was in charge and whether this group had any prior training together. An interesting side note, in the months after the shooting, the Navy Band made procedural changes. None of these changes actually involved security of the building, but all of them involved improvements on information exchange. For example, we installed a 1MC, which is like a loudspeaker system to easily communicate with everyone in the building, and they made sure to update our internal text messaging system to ensure that everyone could be reached.